logged in as River, Bruce, and someone else.
Marilyn.
Oh, connecting with audio.
They might still be connecting, but those are Firewise board members and Sawyer.
It's like they're having a little trouble. It keeps bouncing back and forth. Did I miss anybody else? I think I got everybody. Looks like we have some audio connected. Who's connected as River, Bruce, and
Marilee.
Was it?
Bruce and Marilee Taylor.
Oh, Marilee. I couldn't quite make it out at the bottom there. Could you introduce yourselves, please? Okay. Not hearing response there. There may be continuing audio problems, but we'll go ahead and move forward with the meeting. Thank you all for being here for our April 20, let's say the 25th.
Yep.
25th Fire Safe Council meeting. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, we'll move forward. What's meant by early departure project updates?
Oh, if anybody has to leave early. If they
Oh,
want to speak
okay.
now.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Jerry, I know that you said that you have early departure today. Do you have anything specifically you want to make sure to bring up?
Just a brief update on cameras. I spoke with some folks the other day and this morning, so when we get to that.
Might as well go ahead and do that now, Jerry.
Okay, spoke with Kevin Anderson this morning from Digital Path. He is waiting to hear from Travis regarding the application to the tower company and the material he needs for Horse Mountain and Bald Hills. He had talked with Tara, and Tara had announced that the scoping process was positive regarding the other 6 cameras that PG&E has agreed to sponsor. And apparently Kevin is saying that the NEPA should be done by end of May into June. So that's a lot faster than I thought, but wouldn't that be nice? And I think that's it.
That's just on those 4 Forest Service sites.
I think there's 6 of them.
Okay.
Actually, I don't have the list in front of me, but I think it's a total of 6.
Great. Thanks for the report, Jerry. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I went to the girl as well.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Let's see. Discussions. We'll go straight into Trinity County Vegetation Management Ordinance. I believe that you're on the hook for that, Jill.
So just so that you know, there isn't anything of outcome substance to report yet, unless David has more updated information than I do, but it is being worked on by our admin office and our natural resources division and our county council. So it is very much top of mind and in process, but no affirmative, I guess, action sort of processes to be really reported out yet. Again, unless David knows something that I don't.
Thank you for that, Jill. Generally, yeah, I'm happy to leave it there. I will just say that in a conversation I've had with admin and county council is that the VMO does apply to county properties. So that we wrote the ordinance and we're not off the hook to abide to it for county-owned lands. So we are looking at it from that perspective as well, of how the county can deal with hazard trees or other nuisance vegetation. Not a big issue. The county is not a large landowner, but in any case, that's a small piece of the puzzle. But I'm also happy to answer other questions you may have. I can see Carol there.
Yeah, my brain is going here. Do I turn in a code enforcement for Hobel, or no? I'll wait and see what else we need.
We did
Yeah,
have one about that piece, and maybe we can talk offline about it, but the main thing that we would like to know is like, we have a yearly renewed encroachment permit for doing work along doing roadside fuels on county roads. But for other county property, like what is what the process is, what we need to fill out in order to be able to work on, if we've got separate funding to do fuels reduction, say on Hobel Dump, what will it take for us to actually do that work? I mean, we'll obviously be doing probably, a CEQA notice of exemption and things of that nature, but other than that, like, what's the process on the county side?
It's a great question. I would say that there isn't a process at this point, and I think that's what Joe was referring to with admin of looking into this to help create that process. I would suggest it's a case-by-case basis at this point. So if you had a specific project to advance that or put that to the county, and that's in part because we don't know which county department it needs to go to. If it's a road question, then yes, we can cover that under DOT. But if it's another parcel, such as Hobel, then it might be solid waste. It could also be general services or service buildings and grounds. It may be natural resources division. So I think it is case by case. And the county I believe personally that the county needs to be lead agency, needs to be involved, needs to help give those approvals and authorizations, and not to slow that down. But I can't speak any more specifically than that. With respect to Hobel, I know it wasn't on the discussion, but I have been talking with solid waste about that. They have gone out and worked on that parcel in terms of the annual fire line maintenance that they regularly do anyway. And we're looking to just assess what the fire lines may look like around the perimeter of the facility itself. But the remainder of the parcel is still in discussion. And just for this group, I'll say that I know that the Forest Service is advancing. I still don't know the name of it. The Highway 3 Corridor Fuels Management Project. If anyone else actually knows the real name, please let me know.
I haven't
I
noticed
believe we're
somewhere.
calling that Highway 3 North.
I'm
It's
sorry.
the North Trinity County Wildfire Resilience Project. But it doesn't cover county property, only Forest Service property. So the Hobel Dump is not included in that project.
Which is great. I just wanted to follow up on that. I've been approached a couple times by the Forest Service, somewhat informally, about the idea of the county adding project locations to that planning effort, both for NEPA, of course, and any contracting and the actual project implementation.
Well,
So with that, go ahead.
they're proposing to add the Forest Service owned properties around Trinity Center Airport, both around the hangars and on the north side of the tarmac. And they're proposing, so they are proposing to add random little projects to that larger project, but not on non-federal lands.
Which is an important distinction. But regardless, I wanted to see how far I could go with the Hobel question in that larger planning effort. Because you're right, in the Trinity Center Airport, there's two efforts there. One is an existing implementation effort for the Happy Camps, which is going to address Trinity Center Airport trees on the north end. And that may possibly include the south end as well. So that's all Forest Service land. That should be relatively easy in terms of contracting mechanisms, I hope. But I'm wondering if we can get creative with the idea of piggybacking on a Forest Service effort for the Hobel question as well. If that doesn't go anywhere, and I see Carol shaking her head, and I can describe my ideas offline, but then we also are looking into what the county itself can do with no big report out at the moment.
Is there any Forest Service land adjacent to Hubble Dump? I thought it was all surrounded by SBI.
It is. It's all surrounded by SPI.
Yeah.
And the RCD has separate funding to do Hobel. So they don't need Forest Service funding or to delay, because that Trinity, the North Trinity Communities Wildfire Protection Project is going to take years.
Its signature by 2025, summer of 2025 for the NEPA is perhaps optimistic, but that is the target at the moment. You're right, it would take years. I see Jerry's hand up.
Yeah, my question, I guess, has been answered because I was wondering about the flexibility of the Good Neighbor Authority between the county and Forest Service to piggyback on to some of that work. But if Carol describes that the dump is totally surrounded by SPI, it probably cannot work.
The Forest Service property is across the street on the other side of Highway 3.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, Kenneth,
So, is the forest surrounding the dump, that's SPI?
No.
Got it. Well, I was up there and looked at that a couple of weeks ago, and the fuel break around that mass of dead limbs is totally inadequate if that catches on fire. That won't stop it from going into the surrounding stand.
No.
So, Mark Andre, one of my associates who's been working with NCRP, says he thinks he could get another grant to help you, Carol, with projects that you identify as priorities, and that may be one of them. So we can talk about that
Well,
later.
Kelly has funding, RCD does, to do the work at Hope. So I think what I was hearing earlier is sort out whether the RCD or David are gonna do the CEQA for that, right? But once the CEQA is done, it looks like implementation is actually pretty feasible, not too far down the road.
we don't mind doing like taking sequel on a project like that at all. It's mostly when I was included, I was for being able to be allowed permission to do the
On county property.
Right.
Yeah, we gotta figure. That's the main thing right now is, he said the admin is working on patient management ordinance. Are they also specifically working on that mechanism to allow the RCD to do work on county property at Hobel?
I suggest separating the two questions. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
okay, the VMO writ large is something that needs more attention and will develop over time as the need from this group, these partners and others come forward with helping define what that problem is for the VMO. I kind of conflated them a little bit in my introduction. I apologize, but no, the Hubble I think should go quicker. Again, I'm not trying to tie it to a lengthy Forest Service project. I was just looking for a method.
So my specific question though is, currently, is the county looking at a mechanism that would allow the RCD to do the work at Hobel?
That would be simple to get. Yes, absolutely. There shouldn't be any hang up with that sort of authorization for if there is a proposal, if there is funding. If you're willing to do it, then I can help navigate that. I don't know currently what solid waste has for that type of approvals. It's not like an encroachment permit with DOT that's sort of, in statute and standardized. This is something I think that may be a little bit less formal. Yet if you were to approach the county with that proposal, I can help make that happen. Part of where I was coming from with the Hobel question was comments made in the last Fire Safe Council meeting of the idea of not using the existing funding, but going for exemptions, CAL FIRE exemptions, things like that, other methods that would help that existing funding go to other places, other projects. However, if you're satisfied and interested in continuing with the current project as defined in the current funding, then yes, I can help make that happen.
Well, last month we talked about concurrent projects where both the RCD would be doing the fuel reduction, but potentially some sort of timber operator would be looking at the harvesting of the larger trees to bring money back to the county. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. We were talking about trying to get both things done.
right.
Right.
Okay, fair enough. So there I can just say I've looked into that a little bit. My next steps in terms of pursuing any CAL FIRE exemption for timber harvest would have to be on, a small contract for timber crews, a forester, et cetera, to try to figure those pieces out. So if we keep the question alive, I appreciate that. I in turn will have to lean on solid waste and CAO to help facilitate those types of solutions. That being said, if RCD is ready to advance their fuels management, fuels reduction more immediately, then I'm happy to focus on that first piece of the problem or the solution.
I think I said this last time we discussed it, but ideally, if both of those things were going to take place, the timber harvest would take place first, just in terms of leaving a good product with the fuels reduction, especially if we're making piles and then there are trees being felled in our piles, and it becomes messy in that order.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we
Okay.
have time for that because we're still waiting for everything. That's part of my report out in a little while is specific to that, that funding source. So, thanks, David, for that information. It's helpful. Is there anything else on this topic?
I want clarity from Carol if I could. So I hear Bethany saying some sort of a timber harvest has to happen first. It is what you, I haven't been there and seen it, is what you need to have happen, what you're describing contingent upon a timber harvest?
No. So, what we're looking for is the fuel reduction. The, mill and other, timber companies were also hoping to, be able to harvest those trees and return potentially some money to the county since it's the county-owned property. So, I think what Bethany is saying is we don't want to keep dilly-dallying around with the, process to get the CAL FIRE exemption to do that timber harvest. So the county would want to contract with, like David said, someone to do the timber crews as soon as possible. Is that right, David?
That's what I suggested. Yes, I don't know how to do that though, to clarify that, because that is a general or solid waste fund, and that is general fund monies. So that's not something I can answer. I just know that that would have to occur first.
But if there's receipts returned, then that would refund whatever had to come out of the solid waste portion of the general fund. Okay.
But didn't you say the forest is on SPI?
No, the county owns 15 acres, but Hobel is 15 acres. There's about 5 acres. That's the actual dump. There's 10 acres of forest.
That's a dense forest that we see on the
That's the
photo.
dense forest around the dump,
And that's a plantation, isn't it? A boulder plantation.
pine, looks like.
So it's primarily pine, which could go up to weed or Anderson. So it's a long haul, and I don't recall that it was large diameter material. So I don't know that you would get much revenue.
Jerry has his hand raised.
So excuse me, I'm hoping that maybe this specific project can be discussed offline and not in the meeting, since it's real specific and it's not just general to the ordinance, and we can get through more of the meeting.
True.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. If there's any other specific ordinance related questions, we'll go ahead and move forward. Next up, grants. Do we have any grants to report? Grant opportunities? Are we talking about grants received?
Just like a standing item. I didn't have anything specific to report. I suppose I was going to include it in the Fire Safe Council Coordinator update, but it is related to grants. We received additional funding through the California Fire Safe Council County Coordinator Grant Program, which started April 15th and is through the end of this year. So that's very exciting and will support the department's coordination of these meetings, fire safe education and outreach, and our other programs. So we're excited about that.
Cool. Okay, if there's no other grants related subject or topics from people on the call, I guess we'll just move forward to the Fire Safe Council Coordinator update.
It's been a busy month, which I say every month, but we're getting real close to opening for public review on the hazard mitigation plan and evac routes for the county. That public review period is set to start next Wednesday, May 1st through July 1st. Part of that is not just having these materials available for review on the firesafetrinity.org website, but also we've been coordinating to have copies of the plans available in each district of the county. So we have 10 sites located for the plan to be at. So that's been pretty exciting. Everybody's been kind of excited about it. So we have the, let's see, Golden Age Center, Roderick Senior Center, Trinity Center Library, Weaverville Library, Hayfork Library, Ruth Community Church, TCRCD office, Xenia School, Burnt Ranch School, and Southern Trinity Joint School. Wow, got them all without even looking at my notes. So we'll be, luckily, Miles has been doing awesome education lessons in South County this month. So it really coincides. We'll be going down to Hayfork and Southern Trinity next week, so we can bring the plans along with us, and it'll be just in time for the Wednesday public review starting date. So that's been pretty big bulk of the time, but we've also been getting ready for the Firewise Fair, which is May 11th. We're really excited about that. We have a whole bunch of booths with wildfire resilience resources booked. We have some local vendors that will be there. A goat petting zoo, which is very excited, some free tacos provided by the Hayfork VFD, which we are very grateful for. And we'll also be having live music. So that's going to be a real fun time, but also opportunity for residents to engage with some wildfire resilience resources and information about projects going on in the county. We're also going to have a map drawing exercise available to Hayfork residents so they can engage with the Community Wildfire Protection Plan update at that event. And around the same time, we'll be starting our Fire Safe community meetings, which is going to start on May 7th at the Burnt Ranch School and continue until the end of June. So we're going to have 11 community meetings across the county. So we're really looking forward to that. And I think that's all I got going on.
Great. That's a lot going on, for sure. Does anybody have any questions for Skylar? Okay,
Just a nice work, Skylar.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, moving on to project updates from the partners. We'll start out with Mike with BLM.
Hi, yes, this is Mike with the Reading BLM. No new updates, but I'm up to answering any questions if needed.
Any comments or questions for Mike? Okay, hearing none. I guess you're off the hook, Mike. Thanks.
I appreciate it.
Let's see. I did see that Tom March from Caltrans came on. You want to introduce yourself and give us a little report, Tom?
Sure, thank you for having me. So my name is Tom March. I'm landscape specialist with Caltrans. I work in 7 counties in the North State. And as for Trinity, work with Joe McNeely with maintenance. He's a superintendent of Trinity County maintenance. He was not able to attend. Right now, we're working on our maintenance, routine maintenance of dead tree removal. Right now, they've been hammering on 299 from Buckhorn going west, after which they'll go, I think, north from Weaverville on 3. And as for projects, we have I don't have it in front of me, the Hayfork to Douglas City hazard tree removal project, emergency project we're trying to push forward. It needs management approval, and that will be an emergency project. So we had a couple hiccups with that, and trying to get that through. But that will just be a tree removal, just because of logistics. We can't piggyback a fuel reduction defensible space. but it will remove the dead standing as well as the existing fallen dead. So it will clean up a portion. So just because we wanted to expedite this quickly, we get one or the other, so remove the trees quickly, or for long term, down the line, we will do a defensible space, try to get that implemented in future. So that's what I have. I talked to Joe today, and that was his update. Is there any questions about that? Or
Tom, when you say that it's going to be hazard tree removal, are they going to be running them through some sort of grinder and removing them, or are they going to be like,
yeah, so
and removed by a truck, or how's that going to happen?
details haven't, obviously hasn't been approved yet, so we don't know what will happen. They won't be chipped on site because we don't want to leave either chip fuel on site or and the value of the trees on dead, there's nothing there, so they're going to be hauled. Does that answer your question?
Well, so, first of all, thank you for doing this. It's awesome. And they've been cranking on Highway 3 North from Stewart's Fork through Trinity Center, taking out big, huge dead trees. They leave them along the side of the road. The firewood gatherers have been whacking them all up because they're big and they're dead. And CCC crews have been coming along, cleaning up all the branches, and they are chipping just the branches and stuff and spreading them out on the hillside. So it looks awesome, and it really taking out those big dead trees makes me feel a lot safer. So thank you very much.
Good to know. Thank you. So the maintenance is chipping material on site. The hazard tree removal of Hayfork to Douglas City will do small chipping, but for the majority, the bulk will not be chipped on site, if that is more clarification.
That's great. So when those trees come down, though, what are you doing with with the limbs and the slash, basically? Is that going to be chipped, or is that left?
4-inch and above is going to be removed.
Okay, great.
So I'll try to push for fire resiliency, but as you know, we have to be specific in our actions on an emergency project, because then it turns into a defensible space, and it's complicated that we must keep it separate when we are selling this to Sacramento. They're specific about what it defines as a emergency as opposed to maintenance defensible.
Very good. So the 4-inch and below, though, is lop and scat then, or is it going to be piled, or?
Are you talking hazardous tree removal or the other project?
Hazardous tree removal, like there's going to be limbs up from all the trees that come down.
They're big dead trees,
Mm-hmm.
and they're chipping everything.
Okay. Looks like Tom might be frozen.
So the hazardous tree removal part, those are big dead trees. They're not allowed to take live green trees. And so for that part, they are leaving the trunk of the tree and they are chipping all the branches.
Gotcha. Okay. Looks like Tom dropped off. Frozen and dropped off. So we'll go ahead and move forward. I don't see anybody from Palm Fire Safe Council. Unless I'm mistaken. Houston VFD, is that Stephanie?
Chuck usually attends.
Chuck. Okay. Very good. Lower Trinity PBA, anybody to report out from Lower Trinity PBA? Hearing none, we'll move on. I don't see Debbie. Let's see, anybody from the realm?
Deb Harris wasn't able to attend, but she wanted to pass on that she had no updates, but she gives her regards to the group. So
Okay,
I wanted to
Great.
pass that on.
thank you. Great, okay, then let's go to Chris Cole with NRCS.
Hello, afternoon all. Sorry I haven't been able to make it for a while, but we did it's kind of our contract obligation season. That's where we fund our contracts. We have 9 new contracts in Trinity County, which is good to hear, which is pretty good for our office. 7 of which are primarily going to be fuels reduction types of projects. Some of them are over 100 acres in the southern part of the county. So pretty big for us, and those will be implemented over the next few years unless something falls through. That's I think the major update. We just finished our planning process. In case you guys don't know, we essentially have to do NEPA on every project as an individual, but our process is a little more streamlined than some other agencies. So we're grateful for that. Just happy to be here. And then if there's folks that reach out to you guys that are not in your footprints or in an immediate grant or something, definitely send them our way because we might be able to help them as long as they're not in a hurry. So I think that's it for me unless there's any questions.
Great, thanks, Chris. Anything for Chris? Okay, hearing none. Moving on to SAFE. Larry, do you have anything to report out with regard to SAFE?
Well, yeah, I guess, and Jerry will probably hit on it too when it's his turn, but we attended a meeting with Region 5 Forest Service folks in Weaverville on Tuesday and got a chance to vent a little bit and to talk about what help was needed here. And I think it was pretty productive for what little bit of it I got to see from the person we met with. The person that was assigned to the Trinity Collaborative was the forest supervisor of the Modoc National Forest. Really sharp guy, really paid attention to us, and we got to talk to him about all the various projects that are on the planning stage and just encourage them to help Tara be able to get them moving and something happening on the ground. So that would be the main thing I would report on. It was, like I said, pretty productive conversation. Oh, and the subject of fire, of course, was a good portion of the conversation, and we definitely let it be known that nobody in Trinity County is happy with the Alaskan fire crew coming back here again to light back fires in the middle of the afternoon.
Larry, I'll add, so Pat and I were in the RAC Fire Safe Council kind of subcommittee meeting, and we mentioned to the region that we would like to have the Forest Service attend the Fire Safe Council meetings, which they're not here today again.
Yeah,
We got
yeah,
Nate.
Nate.
Oh, sorry, Nate.
We do have Nate, so that's good. Jerry, do you want to add to that since you
Just a bit. Larry's report was really accurate, but I did want to let you all know that a lot of the conversation was in support of Tara, that we're feeling the Forest Service is very responsive these days. And we asked the fellow we were talking to not allow her to be promoted or to move on. She should stay.
We did. Same for our group. We said she's doing a really
We said it was okay.
Keep her
We
here.
said it was okay for her to be promoted. We just didn't want her to be moving. She has to
That's
stay
true.
here if she gets
Yeah.
promoted.
We wanted to give her more pay to keep her here and no details.
I would share from that if I could, real quick,
Yeah.
and I gotta go.
Yep.
So from our conversations, we were with Jennifer Everman and asked if there could be a mechanism where all the work that's being done and collaboratively, all of these groups could be somehow captured in GIS to show overlap and gap so that people can readily see what is happening on the map sort of.
We said the same thing.
Did
Our
you?
group.
Nice. Okay. And so I talked with Tara about that too afterward. And so process mechanism, I suggested RCD and so don't know where that will land, but the product would be really great.
And I was mentioning that we kind of do that to a certain extent, especially like once we start getting into the CWPP process and stuff. But it is a bit of a Herculean effort to try to round up all of that. It's a little bit like herding cats. So, but it's something that, it's something that we know probably it would be a great use. So we're considering on how we make that happen.
Thanks.
So.
Yep.
So the end result of that day's worth or that afternoon's worth of meetings is a report that goes to the forest leadership team, which may be just a big black hole or not. But I have asked if that report that they bring together and forward is a public document that we can get a copy of to see what the results of all these conversations were viewed from the Forest Service side.
Nice. Yeah.
It seems like you could do a FOIA request,
Yep.
right?
Certainly.
Hopefully that wouldn't be necessary, right?
Yeah, here's hoping it'd be easy, but you know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jill. I would just add, I also sat on one of those meetings, it was Nick Goulet and myself, and we mostly talked about partnership process and things that we saw that could be sort of made a little more streamlined and make things a little bit more easy to move monies to partners that had the capacity to increase their the forest's capabilities and things of that nature. So but again, by and large, there was a lot of good sort of feedback that we gave with regard to not only Terra but just in general, that what we've noticed is that both Shasta T and the Six Rivers have become far more I guess easy to work with, and there's kind of this top-down feeling that there is a value with the partners, and we've moved quite a long ways over the past several years towards being able to build the capacity to do the work that they're asking us to do as partners. So I thought it was also a pretty productive session. Jerry.
The other detail we talked about is capacity of Forest Service and the boondoggle of the grants and procurement department. And Chris said that there are 2 now full-time people working in that department. So he had hope, but that's, I think, for the whole, well, I guess it's the whole region. Is it a Vallejo office?
I believe so, yeah.
State?
I think that's at the regional office.
Yeah. Right, but we made it really clear about the moving money forward and capacity on their end.
Excellent. Okay, well, if there's nothing more on that particular topic, I think we should go ahead and move forward. Tom, you're back.
Yes, I apologize. You gotta make sure your your laptop's plugged in, or else it doesn't give you warning that it's going to shut down. So were there any more comments or questions about where I had left off? Just wanted to make sure of that.
I think we covered what we were, I think we got the answers we needed.
Yeah,
Okay, very good.
you guys are doing great. Thank you.
Thanks. I'll relay that to maintenance as well. I just want to give an introduction to Rob Mead, who sits beside me here. He is my environmental senior lead. He just started a couple months back. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Rob, I'm the veg management lead for District 2 Caltrans, and working closely with Tom, and look forward to working with y'all.
How long you been working with Caltrans?
11 years.
Well, welcome, Rob.
Thank you.
That's great. Did you have anything else to report out, Tom?
No, those were the big ticket items.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us
Right, thank you.
and hopping back on. Let's see. We have anybody from? No, I don't see anybody from Southern Trinity or SPI or Tacoma Glen. Trinity Center VFD. Carol.
I don't really have any updates.
No updates. Okay. Anything for Carol? Okay, seeing none. Moving forward. Jill had basically had a time certain departure, so she said that she didn't really have anything additional to add to the group for today. Was there anything else that outside of the discussion that we had earlier that's related to the collaborative group with Larry or Jerry?
I don't think so.
I will say at the regional meeting, two things. One, our group also pointed out the rack issues with the delays in the charter and the kind of confirmation of new members and how much money we have. So that's just another piece of that feedback to the regional review team. Yeah, and we also said, how come the collaborative was not invited to the NRA portion of the review team meetings? So all the recreation committee stuff from the collaborative, we had no opportunity to provide input to the review team. Oh. My 2 cents from the collaborative.
Okay. Anything else from the collaborative group? All right. Moving forward. Trinity County Natural Resources Division, David Colbeck. Anything additional to add?
I do not have a lot in terms of updates. Just the GNA is moving forward with this amendment in this next budget cycle, and that's most of it. But I'm happy to answer questions should they come up later.
Okay, anything for David? Okay, hearing none. Phil Lipsini is not here.
Can I just say, so the reason Phil is not here, this is really cool. There's this whole North State exercise, which is cyber attackers just like took down the whole medical system in the valley. And so Trinity County is on its own. And so what are we doing? We just had 10 kids get fentanyl ODs. And oh, by the way, there's a forest fire. And oh, by the way, now the air attack is down. So he's dealing with all that kind of scenario. So I was sitting in earlier. It's pretty interesting to see what do we do when we're on our own. So hopefully he'll be here.
Awesome. That's very cool. Let's see. Trinity County Planning, Bella, do you have anything to report out to the group?
Thank you. I just wanted to give a brief update that we've already concluded our first round of community plan workshops a couple weeks ago. So the general plan team is now working on the second draft of the community plans, and we're tentatively scheduled to have the second round in June. And I intend on attending the Weaverville and Junction City CWPP workshops as part of the consistency effort between our general plan update and all the excellent work that RCD and Skylar is doing.
Great.
Any questions?
Anything for Bella?
Oh, did you get my stack of flyers for the county departments?
When did you drop them off?
I think today. They might not have made it to you. Okay.
Well, I'll ask Ben. I'll find them.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for the heads up.
Mhm.
Have a good one, everyone.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Bella. Let's see, on to Trinity County RCD. Let's see, shall we start with Bethany?
Yeah, not a ton to report from me. Our crews have been doing a few days of work along the Weaver Bolly Road, and did some work for Carol up in Trinity Center that we're wrapping up. And then we'll be working out on Kinney Camp Road for a while, on a Forest Service project. We have one contract out right now for a fuels project, and just finished flying one and expect to put a couple more out this spring, under our big CAL FIRE Forest Health grant. We're preparing for community chipping starting in May, although the Watershed Center starting slightly earlier. So that sign up is out. It's on the Fire Safe Council website, Fire Safe Trinity. We'll be running chipping in all the communities in the county, May through about mid-June. So if you haven't seen that, please encourage your neighbors to sign up for that. And we're fully staffed fuels crews, and we've got 2 forestry crews on now that have been assisting with some layout on WCF Phase 2 and up on Trinity camps. So exciting to be assisting getting those going. We're hoping to be moving soon on this small DLM harvest on the Weaverville Community Forest. Had some good meetings in the field lately to get that going this season. And I think that's about it.
So Bethany, the legal ad that was in the paper looking for contractors for the Weaver Basin Fuel Production Project, 156 acres. What is that?
The one that was this week,
Yeah,
it's part of WCF Phase 2, which is going to be signed imminently. And it's some roadside work along Highway 3 north up to Rush Creek Road, and then along Rush Creek Road, as well as a little bit along China Gulch. And I think that's all. Just some pretty small roadside units that'll be cut and chip along the roadside, and then a little bit of piling further from the road.
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Bethany, I was doing a walkabout the other morning and came out on Weaver Valley Road, bumped into the crew. It looks great. Really nice work. And I'm assuming the plan is to come back in the fall and burn the piles?
Yep, that's Forest Service land, so it's Forest Service responsibility, but we'll be happy to help out with that.
Yeah, just it looked good.
Great, I'm glad to hear, Jerry.
Also out on Redding Creek, they did a great job.
And a lot of that got burned, right?
No, this was work that was done last
Oh,
week or the week.
The new one, yeah.
Yeah.
Good, I'm glad that's looking good as well.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments for Bethany? Okay, hearing none. Thank you very much, Bethany. Let's see. Miles, anything to report out RCD wise?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. Who else do we have? Let's see, anybody else? I guess the only other thing that I would add to that was that last month, you may recall that we brought forward a letter of support, which the council supported, that went on behalf of the North Coast RCD Collaborative, of which Trinity County RCD is part of, for a $6 million regional block grant to be administered by Humboldt County RCD. That proposal went before the State Coastal Commission's board last week and was approved. So pretty excited about that for us as implementers, and for the sake of the wildfire resilience funding, which that funding is coming from, will be significant implementers. So I suspect that we'll be getting a pretty significant chunk of that. Probably, I'm cautiously optimistic it'll be somewhere between 800,000 and $1 million to Trinity County. out of that, out of that block grant. So with a pretty good level of discretion on our part as to how we will choose projects to move forward with that funding.
Plus, there's that $6 million grant. I mean, Bethany announced that $6 million grant that was like all the projects in the North Lake area.
Mhm. Yeah, we, that's correct. We haven't, Bethany, were we ready to announce that quite yet?
It's announced to partners, so partners know about it. But we got an award letter for our Cal Fire Forest Health grant that we applied for this year, which the council approved. It's kind of a long timeline before it'll be an executed contract, I expect, but that'll be supporting several projects in the North Lake, the Forest Service project, and then some additional SBI and private land work.
Yep. So some good news. More good news continuing. So that's great. I think that's it for Trinity County RCD, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Well, moving on. Dave DeLang with the Trinity PUD.
Good afternoon, everybody. Quick updates. You know, we've our contract tree crews have been doing a great job of kind of catching up with the hazard tree mitigation this winter. It looks like there's still going to be tree mortality this spring, even with the rainfall. But looks like our fire settings and things like that are. It's still raining today, as you see, but. Still waiting to hear from the Community Wildfire Defense Grants and CAL FIRE grants. I don't know if anybody else has heard. Sorry, the radio's. And look forward to implementing those plans next year if we're funded for those. And other than that, I'll have to commend Nick for his put together of the last week's meeting with the Pacific Northwest forest planning revision, possibly that great event. And I'm sure Watershed will talk about that. But anyway, that's it for me. I'll take any questions.
Excellent. Anything for Dave?
Yeah,
Kenneth.
This is Kenneth Baldwin. I'm writing a vegetation management plan for the Trinity Center CSD. And I want to write in something about the power lines that are at risk through that area. So I'm wondering if you have a wish list of what you would like to see in terms of clearance along those lines.
So you're talking about just where it crosses the road just before Trinity Center through that portion there, and then cuts across the three.
No, the whole way going up from Minersville all the way up just north of Trinity Center.
Oh, no, I've got a big wish list then. We have currently, we only have on the federal lands there, we're a 20-foot easement of power line easement.
That's not much. I looked down one of those easements and it's pretty skinny.
I agree. We do take hazard trees out adjacent to, but all that other land, that's why the RAP project was implemented and started, was to be able to manage those lands up to 130 feet. We're still, like I said, it's in the final stages before public comment. I know we've been saying that for months, but it's kind of Aspen, our contractor, environmental contractors, looks like they're putting the finishing touches on some Forest Service requirements for visual analysis. But yeah, I'm not sure if you're putting the veg management plan together for the CSD. Is that right?
Yeah, and I'm putting in proposals for future projects in places where it would benefit in terms of reducing fire, the fuel hazard. So if I can call you, if you give me a phone number and we can talk about this
Yeah, absolutely. We can talk about that. Yeah, outside this meeting, I'd be happy to. I'll put my number in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Anything else for Dave? Alrighty, hearing none. Thank you so much, Dave. Appreciate it. Let's see. Moving on. Christian, I know that you introduced yourself earlier, but as the new forester for the UC Cooperative Extension, do you have anything to report out to this group?
Yeah, nothing to report. Hi, everyone. Christian Jordan. I'm the Forestry and Natural Resources Advisor for Shasta, Siskiyou, and Trinity County. I've been here about a month, so I don't have anything right now, but it's nice to meet everyone here and I look forward to working with you.
Excellent. And we have a meeting coming up, don't we?
Yeah, I think it's on the 6th.
That's right.
Yeah, so I look forward to that.
Perfect. Wonderful. Well, welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Any questions for Christian? Okay, hearing none. Thanks again for being here, Christian. We'll talk to you again soon. We'll keep you in the loop. Okay, Forest Service, Shasta Trinity National Forest. Nate, you're up.
Hey, good afternoon. So I'll start with an update on planning efforts. So finishing up specialist reports for Heim Palm and for Trinity camps, which is being planned by the NRA. Our watershed center is getting close to finishing up Bowerman Forest, and then also WCF Phase 2. So we're hoping to have those 3 buttoned up here in the next month or month and a half as we get into contracting season. And then we have numerous more in the hopper. That North Trinity project that Carol hit on, as well as Big Ranch, which we've all heard about. Projects around Hay Fork and projects around South Fork Mountain. So a lot coming up. And then switching over to implementation. Bethany already hit on a lot of what we have going on, as you know, RCD is one of our major cooperators. Getting units flagged in and getting work done on the ground. And then hit on prescribed fire accomplishments a little bit. The TRMU alone has completed about 700 acres of pile and broadcast burning in this past fiscal year. South Fork sitting at about 1,000 acres. So pretty good push. Believe we almost doubled our acres from last year. And that's a trend that we plan to continue. On the TRMU, we are pretty well caught up on what we have out there for hand piles. Obviously, more getting built every day. So hoping to jump back into that in the fall. Kind of missed our broadcast window here in the spring just because it stayed so wet so long and then everything greened up all at once. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but that's where we're at. That's everything that I wanted to share. Are there any questions?
Anything for Nate? Okay, hearing none. Thank you so much, Nate. Appreciate it.
Yep, happy to be on. Yep, I'll be more regular.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's greatly appreciated. I don't see anybody from Six Rivers. Let's see anybody from the Willow Creek Fire Safe Council.
Hello, Gina Moon here with the Willow Creek Fire Safe Council. A bunch of different little things going on. We had a couple attended the Earth Day at the Burt Ranch School and kind of promoted the art contest for Trinity County's Firewise Fair Day event thing. So they said that was fun, good food and good people. And so we also, let's see, I want to give a shout out to our subcontractor, Olivia Lopes, with our CWDG coordinator. She's been amazing, staying involved in areas every which way. it really gives me and some of our other volunteers a break knowing she's doing great things. We've also had Sophia Sadie with us under a HAF grant. She's been doing great and grand things. She's recently applied for a couple of the Green Diamond broke out in a different group at one point, and they have a Simpsons Family Fund where like DreamQuest recently received a big cash award from them. We are applying for a truck for our chipper, a designated vehicle to pull that chipper, which is our bigger thing that we have going on for the council, is the chipper program. So we're excited to hear about that eventually. Another grant that's being wrapped up, it was a Coast Central Credit Union grant that's ending on the 29th. We've got that signed report and turned in, and that was for our chipper storage and the cargo trailer. So that feels good. We've got those kind of things done. We have one of our other things coming up in our concerns. We're looking at other areas to be identified under a few different grants. Our Campbell Ridge Road project and some of those properties out there, Councilman Road, and some of that was included in a more recent PG&E California Fire Safe Council. Last I knew, it was on review on somebody's desk. So I don't know if there's an answer where that is by this time, but that's something that we really want to, and it was touched on a little bit earlier to do with the Good Neighbor Authority. It sounds like nonprofits cannot be the lead, or with that, it has to be a, like say the county roads or something like that. So anyway, that's where our Campbell Ridge Road falls in, and some of the properties out on Councilman going out to Bruce and Marilee's place beyond Sharber Slough. That is all a one-way in, and it's kind of a risky little spot out there. So I guess if there's anybody has answers along, like say that where that review is and more Good Neighbor Authority. I think Sophia was going to be talking to David Colbeck about that a little bit more, and via emails or whatever. So those are just some of the loose ends that we're looking forward to in that line. And I forgot one big thing. We have a vision committee that we've thrown together. As you'll know, the Fire Safe Council for Willow Creek has all volunteer. We've been trying to transition and build crew capacity for some time now. This transition has been taking place. So we have a meeting coming up with Will Harling from MCWC, Mid-Klamath Watershed Council, just to kind of get an idea and see where they came from and how they went about it. Who can we model after, for our future of this organization, so that we can continue to help the communities and help, with both counties, and just be there so we can all, so those are some of our visions. But I think I kind of have a question out there still about that Good Neighbor Authority and where that PG&E grant might be. So maybe that's still on review, and otherwise that's it, unless there's questions for me.
I can answer the PG&E. We haven't heard back from them yet. They're still reviewing that.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Anything for Gina?
Gina, I also haven't heard back on the state fire capacity grant, but I will let you know when I do.
Okay, right on. Yeah, and then like I said, Sophia will be trying to track down. She's talked with Forest Service down here, Mark DePero, and she mentioned a different name, but for that Good Neighbor Authority, I just don't know where we're at with that. The Campbell Ridge Road, as y'all know, it's in Trinity County. The Woods Road, there's just really remote places over there that is all on county road, and it's Forest Service lands, with kind of a lot of patchwork of private in between. So as dispersed as our whole big county is, I know we're all up against that same thing. So we're always just looking for ideas.
I was emailed. To be honest, I'm not sure if it was Sophia or not, but I have yet to respond about the potential for GNA work there. So I can dig that up and respond.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's probably underneath of a grant coordinator from Willow Creek Fire Safe Council. And that would be Sophia.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Excellent. Anything else for Gina? Okay, hearing none. Thank you so much, Gina. That was a good report out. We're on to the Watershed Research and Training Center. I'm Randy, Quaylen, Megan.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to invite Quaylen or Megan to speak. It's nice to see you guys here.
Hey everybody, Quaylen here. I'm with the Prescribed Fire Program with the Watershed Center. Over the last month or so, we've been reaching out to communities around Trinity County that are interested in forming prescribed burn associations, neighbors helping neighbors. You know, I've talked about it before. We've been to Junction City and Lewiston. And we had a great excitement in both of those communities for moving forward with that. We're also going to be holding a meeting this coming Saturday in Douglas City, and then another one following up in Hayfork on June 2nd, which is a Sunday. If anybody knows anybody in the Weaverville, Lewiston, Douglas City area who was not able to attend one of our past meetings, please feel free to point them in the direction of this meeting in Lewiston, Douglas City. We're covering a lot of the same topics, and folks that are not immediately living in those communities are more than welcome to come ask questions, glean some knowledge, and share their thoughts. And on top of that, we've got the Firewise Fair coming up on May 11th, which maybe I'll let Megan speak to that.
Quaylen, can I ask you a question? So you have Trinity Center, Coffee Creek with your PBA meetings. So where and how are you getting the word out?
I just realized I need to send Mr. Agner a blurb for the community calendar, but it's all over social media. So people who are on social media have been aware of it, but I'm putting it in the journal right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to say I have a lot of old parts that don't do social media. They specifically don't like Facebook. So so we don't know anything about it in the North Lake. We don't know where, I mean, is it Trinity Center or is it Coffee Creek? You know, where are you getting together? What time? You know, none of that. So if you expect people to come, I'm just trying to figure out how you're getting the word out.
The locations have been figured out kind of not at the last minute, but a little bit closer to the actual date. But we're meeting at 9 a.m. It's usually in some kind of community area. So I would assume maybe for Trinity Center, it might perhaps be the fire hall or something like that. But yeah, I'm working on that to make sure people know to show up at 9 a.m. at the location. We've got a Hayfork one and the Trinity Center one coming up.
Because Coffee Creek has its own fire hall. I mean, that's just like a really big.
It's Trinity Center. It's not Coffee Creek. It's Trinity Center.
Okay, because the flyers say Trinity Center / Coffee Creek. Anyway, that's the kind of confusion I'm trying to answer.
Other than that, we're gearing up to offer a bunch of resources at the Firewise Fair. Make sure that people can sign up if they're in our project boundary as a cooperative landowner to get involved in fuels reduction and prescribed burning, and to receive input from community members about areas that require attention for future projects. I can't speak too much to the Northwest Forest Plan, but the field trip last Monday was really illuminating to see actual projects on the ground and get more context about them. And my only involvement really was just bringing lunch to people, but it seemed like big things were happening in the room and big, hard questions and difficult problems were being tackled. So that was pretty cool to see in Weaverville, right here in the Redding Rancheria.
Great. Anything else from Quaylen and Megan? Okay, Randy, you got a little more for us?
I do, yes. Yeah, if people are interested in the Northwest Forest Plan Advisory Group that Nick is on, he's been serving on that advisory group. It's a Forest Service group, uh, you know, people looking over the Northwest Forest Plan and giving feedback on how to modernize it, update it. It's been something like a year that he's been participating in the advisory group. They've met all over kind of the region covered by the Northwest Forest Plan. And Nick thought it would be great if they could come see some of the dry forests at the southern end of the range for northern spotted owl. So that's what happened last week. The group is getting very close to finalizing their feedback for the Forest Service when it comes to updating the Northwest Forest Plan. So just a quick little blurb on that since it was mentioned. I have to admit I'm still catching up after my surgery, so I did not participate. But I'm sure Nick would love to tell you all more about it when you see him. So for us in forestry and fuels, things are gearing up with the field season. There's been little updates from the partners on this call. We are getting close to having all the pieces for Bowerman completed. There's actually a field trip with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service today, and very likely an invitation is pending to go look at a sample mark for the collaborative so that we can talk about the prescription and look at it on the ground. And so that's getting finalized as we speak. And so that's pretty exciting. The next planning project that the Watershed Center will be working on for the Shasta Trinity is the Monument Fire kind of post-fire restoration project. We're going to be having a public meeting in Junction City. We're still working on the dates, but I just wanted folks to be aware that the meeting would be announced for sometime late in May and June. We want to give people enough time to make it to the meeting. So just trying to coordinate all the schedules for that public meeting. The Forest Service had some, ideas of the work that could be done. We've been ground truthing some of them, so we have some information for folks to consider in Junction City. So yeah, just excited for that. The next steps on the Monument Fire project. Our fuel and forestry crews are largely started up now for the fuels program. They're working downriver in Sawyer and South Fork Road doing storm cleanup on targeted neighborhoods, and they'll be working on that until that project is done. So we're excited to get that completed early in the season. We're also doing some road brushing out in High Pond Valley along the roads impacted by the Sims fire, and that work will likely continue until we just have probably a modest amount of funding left so we can open roads in the spring of 25, and then we'll be wrapping that project up. Kind of a nice companion piece of that is there is watershed restoration money also in that Sims fire settlement funding the last little bit that the Forest Service had. So Josh Smith will be also working out there with his program. So those are some of the current fuels implementation that we're working on. Our forestry crews, as Nate mentioned, are helping lay out some projects in the High and Palm area. And once we have kind of final approval from the Forest Service and Bowerman decision is eminently being signed, we will start on the mark out in Bowerman. So likely the work in High and Palm will be complete for the contract season, and then we'll move on and work on finishing laying out the Bowerman project. I don't have any grant updates for folks. A lot of things are pending out there, but I think those are the big ticket items unless anybody has follow-up questions, which I'd be happy to answer.
So yeah, I have questions. So for Bowerman, so when would you actually expect the decision to be signed?
I think it'll just depend on when they get the concurrence from US Fish and Wildlife Service. That's one of the last kind of timing pieces.
So
And I don't think they can actually.
Is that a month or a quarter or 6 months or?
I think it's in the realm of a couple of months.
So, and then, so no implementation this year?
No, I think the Forest Service is planning on having some service contracts out there with the resources from the WCS. And then the timber sale contract would be awarded, but I guess that's not technically implementation starting this year.
Yeah, and then, you know, you said maybe a collaborative field trip for the sample mark.
Yeah, I think Tara is gonna have an invite for folks to go look at that.
Is that before or after the decision?
I think she was thinking one of these off-cycle field trips. I think likely she's just seeing how the field trip goes with US Fish and Wildlife Service today.
Well, because, I mean, so the next field trip would be in
Next field trip would be in June.
June.
I thought there was a ability to have unscheduled field trips. Did I get that wrong somehow?
No, if there's a need or some expeditious desire to do that, they can be scheduled, but there is the next standing one will be in June.
Okay, well, I apologize if I got that wrong somehow. So yeah, I think it would be great. But I don't want to, yeah.
Okay, so, all right, so potentially field trip. I mean, the collaborative has been out there once. We're out there probably not quite a year ago, right? It was in the summer. And then we had,
Cold and rainy.
not the December one, the one where we went way down the road.
That was cold and rainy too.
No, it was not. Anyway, so it's been a while. We've had 2 field trips out there, so I'm just wondering about that. And then when you say implementation, the reason I'm asking is all those blue flags along the side of the road. I mean, I get questions every time I go to the post office. So when are they gonna do something about all the blue flags along the side of the road? Sorry.
Those are timber sale units, so they will likely be up for a time and get freshened as needed.
So you're thinking that the timber sales they'd have to go out for a bid, and so those might not actually happen until next year, the actual cutting of timber?
Well, and I would say, you know how the contractor has some latitude with a timber sale contract for implementation. So it could be next year or the next. So there is likely those flagging wouldn't get freshened up until the work was imminent. At some point, it'll go to sale admin to maintain the marking on the units.
So none of the work along Highway 3 is just shaded fuel break? It's all timber sales?
Well, it's timber sales to create a shaded fuel break. I mean, that's the desired condition.
Not service work?
I do think there is some service work along parts of the highway. You know, we've been talking about is there some early service work that would make sense, you know, as part of the contracts that the Forest Service are putting together now?
Larry, you have your hand up.
I do. Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. I did have my hand up. I forgot to report during my report on the collaborative part that we did have a meeting with Tara about the 5-year plan. Kelly was there as well. And a lot of this stuff got spelled out, but we had that meeting in lieu of going out in the field because Tara didn't really have anything to show us that was new that we hadn't been to already. So just to clear that up.
Do you think there's not so much interest to go look at the sample mark out there?
Oh, no, there's interest to always look at sample mark, you know, and if it means that it's a off schedule trip, then, but that's up to Tara.
Yeah, Tara would normally, if there was a need for that, for like a special, it's obviously all, it depends on when the thing gets signed, and then basically I think she'd probably shift gears at that point. And you know, if there was a desire to like have a look at an early part of the mark, then you know, then she can coordinate with me and we can get that on the books.
So just from the fire department, it would be really great if you guys could figure out a way to actually do some shaded fuel breaks and fuel reduction along Highway 3, because that's part of our evacuation needs, you know, versus just waiting, like, you know, they did, like Bethany said, they just got that grant, the Forest Health grant that's gonna help subsidize Bowerman. But, you know, I'm just concerned that you're gonna be out there doing Bowerman Ridge Road, and because that's where the timber is, and, you know, all that kind of stuff first, versus the stuff right along Highway 3 that people are always asking me about. So anyway, I'm just trying
Yeah.
to how this.
I don't think the two things are mutually exclusive. So I think that's really great feedback. And of course, the CAL FIRE funding likely won't come through, but you know, Tim was looking for feedback on, you know, what could be implemented first. So that's really good feedback for him in terms of the service work that the Forest Service is contracting out this year.
Is Bethany, is it any of this mark, is that just for the Bowerman project, or is there flagging that's going up for like pre-flagging work for the McConnell Foundation?
There's no McConnell Foundation flagging up there yet. There will be later this summer.
Okay. They were color.
Yeah, I mean,
It'll be a different color.
well, and Trinity camps will start flagging, hopefully. They're gonna start talking about their timber.
Okay. Is there anything else, Randy, that you wanted to report out?
That was it. Thank you.
Any other questions for Randy or Quaylen? Quaylen, you've got your hand up.
Hey everybody, sorry my last computer froze on me. I'm trying a different one to see if you can hear me now. I was trying to answer Carol's question about community outreach for Coffee Creek and Trinity Center. Megan's doing a great job putting stuff on social media. Also, there will be a notification coming out in the Trinity Journal along with the post for the Firewise Community Fair. The meeting in Trinity Center, we're looking to have it in Trinity Center. I've already been talking with Dwight Stewart about this. Is going to be on June 9th. And it will encompass, basically we're going to invite anybody from any of the communities on Lakeside all the way up to Coffee Creek. Just trying to lump as many communities that are like geographically connected together to try and get the movement happening, because it definitely takes a critical mass of people participating to get the momentum going. We have a PBA out in Hyam Palm, and our population is definitely the bare minimum of people to get a PBA moving forward. So as we get closer to that and hammer out the location, we'll be putting up flyers around those towns as well. Does that answer your question, Carol?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. I just want to make sure you got people showing up, and if they don't know about it, they won't come.
Yeah, of course.
Gotta have food.
Gotta have food.
We
Plan
learned
on
our
it.
lesson for Lewiston not having enough analog promotion, so we're stepping up our analog alert system.
Come on, you're dealing with old farts up there.
Understood. Okay, anything else for the Watershed Center? All right, hearing none. Thank you so much, Randy and Megan and Quaylen. We do appreciate all the work that you guys are doing, and all the outreach you guys are doing for the public. So that's awesome. I do want to give it's not on this list, but I just wanted to give Chris Losey an opportunity to speak from the Flora perspective, if you have anything to report to this group.
Hi, Kelly. Thanks for that. Yeah, I was jotting a few ideas down because I don't know how much I've shared with this group, and the group keeps changing. But Flora, we're looking to get involved with more fire and fuels projects. We're a for-profit company, and so we've got flexibility, and we can be nimble, and we can bring people on to do work when it needs to be done. We also, have because of the rest of our business, we can reach out to a lot of residents and individuals that aren't commonly engaged in this type of discussion and planning. And actually, we are, thanks to Randy, we've been named a subcontractor on a grant with Watershed Center. Hopefully that'll go through, but doing that kind of community outreach. And we have 3 Hmong translators on Flora's staff. So dealing with that element of the community is really easy for us. So I just, we don't have any specific projects now that we're working on, but we look to be working on them in the future, and we're available and eager to help where we can.
Great. Anything for Chris? Awesome. Well, thank you very much for that introduction, or broad introduction there, Chris. And I think with that, unless Charlie Holthouse, I think he's the only one that's hanging on the call that hasn't actually spoken. So, Charlie, do you have anything for the good of the order?
I got a little bit. I'm scheduling our neighborhood work party to do fuel reduction for this year's project for the Neighborhood Ambassador Program, and it'll be on June 1st. And we're going to try to finish off the county-owned parcel that's between Highway 3 and the private parcels of Rush Creek Estates is the plan. And we attended the Lewiston PBA workshop last weekend, and my wife volunteered to be the coordinator. So I think we're going to be the point of contact for the Lewiston PBA for the short term going forward.
Great.
And that's pretty much it. Want to send out a big thanks to Caltrans and the RCD for supporting our fuel reduction efforts around the neighborhood. Things are progressing very well for us. I'm very impressed with the progress that's been made.
Fantastic. Thanks, Charlie.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's great. Okay. Any future discussion items at this point for our May meeting?
Well, still an update on the vegetation management ordinance.
Okay. We can get that down.
Cameras?
Cameras, okay, yeah,
Update.
we'll see if we can get an update from Jerry on that one. As things are progressing. Any other items? Cool. All right, well, I think with that, unless there's anything else for the good of the order, we are adjourned for April. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Greatly appreciate your time and all the reports. So thanks so much. We'll see you all next month.
And thanks to everyone for their good work.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. All right.
Thank you.